Tonight, we're going to step into a story that sits right on that razor's edge between the world we know and the one we fear. It's a story that starts with a father's deepest terror, and it ends with a question that I promise you will linger in the dark. Imagine hearing a father say that about his own son. Not after some long, drawn-out illness, not after being gone for years. No, this was after just 10 days. 10 days of silence. The image that phrase puts in your head, it's just horrifying. So picture this. For 10 straight days, a father in Pune is trying to reach his son, Raman, who's out in Mumbai trying to make it on his own. Every single call goes straight to a switched-off phone. Day 1, nothing. Day 5, nothing. By day 10, the worry is just eating him alive. He can't take it anymore. He gets on a bus and goes straight to Mumbai, to his son's apartment. What he found there, it was something out of a nightmare. I mean, just look at this. 10 days ago, Raman was a healthy young man, a college graduate, weighing around 75, maybe 80 kilos. The thing that answered the door was a skeleton, barely 40 kilos, living in a place that looked and smelled like a sewer. The change was so drastic, so complete, the father literally did not recognize his own child. Think about what he went through. He had to pound on that door for 10 full minutes before it finally opened. The smell that rushed out was so bad he almost threw up. And then, as he's trying to make sense of his skeletal son, he catches a movement out of the corner of his eye. A flicker in the kitchen. Not a person, just a dark, shadowy shape that just vanished. So the question is, how does this happen? Seriously, what on earth could reduce a healthy man to that state in less than 2 weeks? Well, to figure that out, we have to rewind. We have to go back to the days right before he went silent. You see, Raman's story, it doesn't actually begin with a monster. It begins with something way more common and maybe, in its own way, just as dangerous. It begins with loneliness. And loneliness is the perfect soil for nightmares to grow. Raman was a smart guy, a graduate who moved from his hometown to the big city, Mumbai, chasing his dreams. But this city, it was brutal. Job interview after job interview just led to rejection. Now, his family was helping him out, so he wasn't struggling for money, but the constant failure and just being another anonymous face in a crowd of millions, it started to wear him down. He was completely, utterly alone. His life became this depressing loop. Wake up, go to an interview, get rejected, come home, cook for one, eat alone. Then, at night, he'd walk in this park nearby, a place that was always empty after dark, just to get out of his own head, away from everyone. And it was on one of those lonely night walks that he became a perfect target. This is the moment. This is where his entire world starts to come apart at the seams. It was a Saturday night, and he'd gone out really late, like 12:30 in the morning. That park was his safe space because it was always deserted. But tonight, he wasn't alone. He heard it before he saw anything. A woman, just weeping. These deep, painful sobs. And then, a sudden, violent sound. Crack. The unmistakable sound of a phone being shattered against a tree. His first instinct, his human instinct, was to see if she was okay. He finds this beautiful woman, completely distraught. And as he's trying to talk to her, he notices a group of drunk guys nearby, just staring at her, leering. And he gets worried for her, so he makes a decision that changes everything. He offers her a safe place to wait it out, his apartment. A simple act of kindness that became a death sentence. So they get back to his apartment. But what started as him just trying to be a good guy, well, it turned into a waking nightmare real fast. The woman, she tells him her name is Reema. She asks if she can use his washroom. Of course, he says. She goes in, closes the door, and Raman waits and waits. An hour goes by, then 2 hours. It's 3:30 a.m. He starts to panic. He knocks, no answer. He finally pushes the door open, and the washroom is completely empty. It's a tiny room, no windows, one door. There was no way out. She had just vanished into thin air. He's terrified. He thinks he's losing his mind. He eventually just collapses into a restless sleep. But a few hours later, he wakes up, thirsty, and he turns his head. And she's there, lying in bed next to him, sleeping like she'd been there the whole time. And just like that, the takeover began. 1 minute she'd be there, the next, gone. She started cooking his meals, cleaning his apartment.
She messed with his head, convinced him he was just stressed out, that he was imagining her disappearances. And it worked. Within 5 days, he wasn't going to interviews anymore, he wasn't leaving the apartment, he wasn't even answering his phone. He was a prisoner. This is when his father finally showed up and found him. And to save his son, he knew he had to tell a lie. A desperate gamble to break whatever spell was holding him there. Seeing that shadow in the kitchen, seeing the state of Raman, his father knew this wasn't natural. So he told him, "Your mother's in the hospital. She's dying, son, and she's asking for you." It was a lie, but it was the only thing he could think of that was powerful enough to get Raman out of that apartment. And incredibly, the lie worked. Raman actually packed a bag and left. But once they were safely back home in Pune, Raman kept asking, "When can I see mom?" And that's when his father had to deliver the crushing, awful truth. He looked at him and said, "Son, what are you talking about? Your mother died when you were 11. It was Raman's grandmother who finally gave this entity a name, a Mohini Chudail. In Indian folklore, it's a type of beautiful, demonic witch. And her prey is always the same, lonely, vulnerable young men. She doesn't just kill them. No, she traps them, isolates them, and then slowly feeds on their life force until there's nothing left but an empty shell. The road back for Raman was, well, it was a crawl out of hell. His family brought in a Tantrik for spiritual cleansing rituals, but that was only part of it. He was basically put on lockdown for 40 days, with intense medical care and therapy to deal with the severe physical and psychological trauma he'd been through. And here's the detail that makes this whole thing so much more chilling. This isn't some ancient myth passed down for generations. The source of this entire story is Raman himself. After he recovered, he shared what happened to him. As a warning, you know, whether you believe in supernatural witches or not, Raman's story is a terrifying metaphor. Loneliness, especially for young people in these massive anonymous cities, is a real epidemic. It creates a vacuum inside you, and nature abhors vacuum. Something will always rush in to fill it. For Raman, it was a demon. For others, it might be depression, addiction, manipulation, anything that eats you from the inside out. His loneliness was the crack in the door that let the darkness in. The legend says the Mohini preys on the lonely. Her eyes can fall on anyone who feels isolated, anyone who feels unseen. Which leaves us with one final, unsettling thought. Are you sure you're alone right now?